Hey everyone, Dave Palet. Want to talk baseball with you this week. One of the most exciting weeks of all of baseball. The trade deadline happens. And guess what? It's going to happen as far as tomorrow, because as I record this right now, Pacific time, it's 8:41 on a Sunday night. We've already had some trades this weekend, but I'll go through exactly some of the big names, who might be going to certain teams that have a chance of playing in the postseason, and some of the names might surprise you. But it's always exciting. If your team is in it right now, or even if your team is selling, this is a time right now you're kind of excited to see, hey, who am I selling and who are we getting back? So we'll talk about that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through all 30 teams telling you how they did this week, but I will tell you exactly where things are when we talk about the top 10 teams and who I have making the playoffs. So to make it real simple for you, I'll give you the top 10 this week. We're going the Houston Astros. Astros, of course, had a bad few games against the Padres in San Diego. Astros, though, still one of the better teams in baseball. The Braves at number 9. Yankees, who just ended that long losing streak of 7 games to the Mets. They won on Saturday night. Yankees coming at number 8. Yankees have been killed by injuries, and there are a lot of guys who are injured if you're a Yankee fan, with Torres, LeMahieu, Stanton, Judge, all of them hurt in this short season. If you're a Yankee fan, a little bit concerned of what's going on with your team and your roster, especially knowing it's only 60 games and you're behind the Rays in the standings in the AL East. But also remember this, with the Yankees, expect them to be active on Monday before the trade deadline. We all know they're going to be looking for a starting pitcher, maybe even 2 starting pitchers. Minnesota Twins come in at 7. The Twins lost 4 straight games this week. And at the same time, when you look at what Minnesota is doing, as good as they hit, guess what? They don't have the pitching right now. They're a team that is talking about getting a starting pitcher. We could tell you who they might be getting at the trade deadline as well. But the Minnesota Twins have not only fallen out of first place in the American League Central, the Cleveland Indians are ahead of them, and the White Sox are ahead of them. So it's been a bad week for Minnesota. White Sox coming at number 6. They're way ahead of schedule in 2020, where I think a lot of people thought they would be. Rumors are that they're looking for that starting pitcher as well. Maybe they're going to make a run right now when most people thought their best years are ahead of them. You look at the Cleveland Indians at number 5. Indians, as I mentioned, in first place in the AL Central. One of the more interesting teams to watch right now, because the Indians look like they're a team that could win the World Series, but at the same time, the Indians supposedly are looking at Francisco Lindor and Clevenger possibly on the move. Padres have been active already this weekend. Padres have already made some moves. They already got that reliever in Trevor Rosenthal on Saturday. They get Mitch Moreland, of course, on Sunday to be the DH. He's been the best hitter for the Red Sox so far. The Red Sox are one of the worst teams in baseball. But the San Diego Padres, they get that left-handed bat that they need, an experienced left-handed bat. They helped the Red Sox win the World Series in 2018. Also, some of the other guys that the Padres got, big moves at catcher. They've got 2 brand new catchers. Austin Nola, of course, Aaron Nola's brother from Seattle comes in. He'll be the guy that's going to get the majority of playing time behind the dish for the Pods. They're at number 4. At number 2 last week, Padres fall to number 4. Oakland A's at number 3. The A's have already made a move when they got Tommy La Stella. We'll see what the A's decide they're going to do as far as at the trade deadline. Should be exciting. The Rays right now coming at number 2. Highest I've had the Rays all year long, but the Rays, again, with a 4-game lead over the Yankees, right now first place in the AL East. You got to tip your hat to what the Rays have done and really what that organization has done in developing players. Number 1 team, it goes back to the Dodgers. Dodgers have played the best baseball so far in the shortened season. Again, the only team in baseball not to lose a series. They take the last 2 out of 3 from the Texas Rangers this weekend. They set a record for the most home runs hit in 1 month for a National League team. Dodgers are playing great baseball. One stat, when you talk about that home run record, it means something to some teams. A lot of teams, it doesn't mean anything. Wins are the most important thing. The Dodgers are getting wins, but when you look at all the home runs they have hit in a 1-month span, the Dodgers now have a DH. And of course, every team in the National League has a DH this year. I think that's one of the big reasons why that record was set. But the Dodgers continue to hit pretty well. Cody Bellinger finally looking like Cody Bellinger of old. Max Muncy putting the ball out of the park as well. But with Max Muncy, that batting average still below 200. The one thing about the Dodgers, they lead all the baseball in runs scored, least amount of runs given up. Pitching ERA from a starting staff, ERA from a relief staff. Playing fantastic baseball, but the big thing for the Dodgers, they haven't been able to close it out, and they've been waiting since 1988 to win that World Series. But the Dodgers are a team, as good as they are right now, they're a team rumored to be making a run at the trade deadline Monday afternoon. So here we go. Those were the top 10 teams. I'll break it down for you playoff-wise, what that means if your team's going to make the postseason. I'm going to just say it right now. Here we are with the trade deadline coming up on Monday. that who I think will be in the postseason. In the National League, the 8 teams I have are the Dodgers, the Braves, the Padres, the Cubs, Cardinals, Phillies. Phillies have rebounded, have had a pretty good week. The Mets and the Reds. Things could change though with the Reds if they make a trade to start dealing some of their guys off instead of playing to win for this year. But a lot of talk that you could see Trevor Bauer possibly on the move. American League, the 8 teams are the A's, the Rays, Indians, White Sox, Twins, Yankees, Astros, and Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, surprisingly, told you a week ago that the Blue Jays have to evaluate where they are. We all know how young they are and what that minor league system is and how good they are. But Hyun-Jin Ryu is a guy that gave a lot of money to. Would he be a guy that they might possibly deal after just having him a month? Or do they keep him and build around him? All the talk we're hearing right now, the Rays are a team that's saying, we're trying to win right now. So the talk is the Rays are going for a frontline pitcher. You're hearing Clevenger's name. You're hearing Lance Lynn's name. Some of the big names that you could see move tomorrow, okay? Again, we're taping this on a Sunday night, August 30th. Some of the starting pitchers that you could see being moved. Dylan Bundy from the Angels has done extremely well for the Angels. The Angels have been a horrible team this year, but Dylan Bundy has been a shining light. Trevor Bauer, the talk on Trevor Bauer, he could possibly go to the Dodgers. He could go to the Padres. Mike Clevenger, tonight as we do this, he is the hottest name going. 29 years old. His contract doesn't expire till after the 2023 season. Here are the names that the Indians are talking to. The Indians are talking to the Dodgers, the Padres, Braves, Yankees, and White Sox. Now, I mentioned the Braves in there. The Braves right now have one of the worst starting ERAs in all of baseball. Many people thought the Braves were the second best team in the National League. Heading into the season, the Braves right now need help, especially with Mike Soroka gone for the year. You look at some of the other guys that are starting pitchers who are available. Mike Minor, lefty for the Rangers. Lance Lynn, who is so hard to hit. I watched him pitch Saturday night, and he looks like Bartolo Colon. Overweight, heavy, throws a fastball like 95% of the time. Guys don't connect on it very often. Lance Lynn is an innings eater and an outstanding player. He's a guy that you expect to see moved. Kevin Gausman. Now, if I were to tell you Kevin Gausman a year or two ago, you'd say big deal. If you look at Gausman pitch, and I don't know how many of you are watching Giant games, he is sitting at 98, 99 on his fastball. He looks very good. The Giants aren't going to win this year. Gausman's a guy that, to me, would give you something big in return. As we know right now, this is a seller's market, and if you're selling, you're going to get something good in return. And for the Giants, they could get something big for Gausman and for Johnny Cueto. Expected those guys to leave. Would not be surprised to see one or both of them end up with the New York Yankees. One of the names that kind of made me laugh when I saw him on the list of guys that are on the market is Robbie Ray. Before the season began, most people would say Robbie Ray is a very consistent left-handed pitcher, second best pitcher that the Diamondbacks had heading into the season, right behind Madison Bumgarner. We all know Bumgarner stinks, and he's been injured. Robbie Ray is terrible. ERA over 7. Believe it or not, the Houston Astros are interested in him. Relief pitchers, there are 2 guys that stand out now that Trevor Rosenthal is with the Padres. The relief pitchers, everybody knows about Josh Hader. Unbelievably good. I mean, yesterday, meaning Saturday night, he had a tough spell where he couldn't find the strike zone, but he still has not given up a hit the entire year. To be a pitcher at any level to not give up a hit is incredible. He's pitched more than 9 innings and hasn't given up a hit. Josh Hader is still the best reliever in all of baseball. For the Brewers, they say the price tag is going to be enormous, but the Dodgers are talking to the Brewers about getting Josh Hader, which would be incredible to add him to the back of that staff with a Kenley Jansen. Archie Bradley is the other reliever out there, closer for the Diamondbacks. A lot of talk that the Diamondbacks, again, know this isn't the year. They've been extremely disappointing, but Archie Bradley could be on the move. Now, some of the bats that you could see being moved, and some of them are exciting names, some of them aren't exciting at all, but some guys wouldn't surprise you if they're moved. Kevin Pillar. Now, here's a guy that's a great defensive player, as we've seen him before with the Blue Jays and the Giants, and this year with the Red Sox, can play center, can play right. Outstanding glove. He's about a 280 hitter, but a veteran presence to have on your team. A big name that people are looking at right now also is Cameron Maybin. And Cameron Maybin, you're going, Cameron Maybin, he's played for almost every team in baseball, and he hasn't really been that kind of guy that has made that huge of a difference on any team he's been on, but he's almost like that good luck charm. If Cameron Maybin's on your team for some reason goes far in the postseason, the Chicago Cubs are interested in using Cameron Maybin. He's going to replace Albert Almora, who's batting 185 for the Cubs, but Chicago expected to make that deal for Cameron Maybin. Clint Frazier, 25 years old for the Yankees. he's off to a pretty good start, and we know the Yankees have injuries with the bats especially. We went over some of the names a little bit earlier. Frazier's one of those guys, should be an everyday player, and when everybody's healthy for the Yankees, he's not an everyday player, but he's a guy that could get you something in return that's pretty good. As we all know, the Yankees need a lot of help, and the Yankees aren't the kind of team that's going to sit around and go, we'll go next year. You're paying too many guys too much money to sit around and play the next year game. The Yankees are trying to get to the World Series this year, and they should. Jackie Bradley Jr. hitting .235 for the Boston Red Sox, one of the best center fielders in the game, Gold Glove outfielder. Jackie Bradley Jr., I think his time in Boston is done. Not because the Red Sox stink. I don't think he feels very supported. We all saw what happened this week with what happened in sports and the NBA and Major League Baseball, and guys like Mookie Betts who said, I'm not going to play, yet the Dodger players stood right behind him, and Clayton Kershaw and Kenley Jansen and manager Dave Robertson said, if Mookie's not playing, we aren't playing. Well, Jackie Bradley Jr. told the Red Sox he didn't want to play, and nobody stood by him. Nobody would even talk to him. The backup catcher and the manager were the only ones who even had a conversation with them. Boston, unfortunately, is known for being one of the worst racist cities in the United States, and I think Jackie Bradley Jr. is about done with Boston. I think one of the best moves that could happen to the Red Sox is to ship him out if you could. Doesn't sound like he wants to be there. And one of the surprise names right now, Nolan Arenado. He signed a huge contract with the Rockies a year and a half ago. He wasn't happy with the Rockies organization last year when they were around last place. He doesn't want to be on a team that's not going to contend. The Rockies are a 50-50 team, and really right now they're a little bit below 50%. Nolan Arenado, the rumor is he can end up as a Yankee. Now, for Nolan Arenado to end up on that Yankee team playing third base would be something else, but obviously it would be an upgrade for any team to get Arenado. And finally, when we talk about bats, the last one in a great glove, maybe the best fielding shortstop in all of baseball, it's Andrelton Simmons for the Angels. Going to be a free agent at the end of the year. But Simmons, right now, the Angels don't have much use for him. You might as well ship him off if you can. The Angels minor league system could use some help. Simmons is a guy that could help a team as far as defensively, and also the presence that he gives as a veteran. So you look at some of the big names that could possibly go. Could be very exciting to see what happens. But as we sit there and we wait for the trade deadline to see what goes on Monday, can't wait. You're going to find out which teams are really serious about 2020, and also which teams are saying, you know what, 2020 is just not our year. We're going to see some big names changing uniforms Monday afternoon. Should be an exciting time. And at the same time, even teams like the Dodgers, who look like they're running away with it and should feel comfortable, they don't feel comfortable. We all know what happened with the Dodgers last year when they got to the postseason against the Nationals. You ran into a very good pitching staff, and things changed dramatically. The San Diego Padres are in second place in the National League West, one of the better teams in baseball this year. A.J. Preller, extremely active, already shipping away some of his minor league talent. So if you're a Padre fan, you have to be extremely excited about what Monday's going to breed and what's going to happen as far as what your Tuesday, Wednesday games are going to look like when you have guys in brand new uniforms trying to make that push. Remember, the Padres haven't been a contending team for the World Series since 1998. Padre fans have waited a long time. A.J. Preller right now gets a chance to show how smart he is and how good he is in improving this team. It should be interesting to see what's going to happen this week. So the teams I'd recommend you pay attention to: Dodgers, Padres, Yankees, Braves, and the Cleveland Indians, because I think the Cleveland Indians will shock a lot of people on guys that are helping their team win right now. Then the Indians are going to say, we don't need you in our organization. All right, that's it for this week. We'll talk next week. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk about what happens after some of these trades, and also which teams have improved their chances of making it back to the World Series in 2020. Again, you can follow us, JP25 Media. It's jp25.media on the website. And if you're watching on YouTube, please click the subscribe button as we give you baseball news and other shows throughout the year. Thank you very much.